What's up, everybody? So we're back, and what is it? This will be 1 week on from Glasgow Hyrox. Opening up today's episode because I'm seeing things online with the whole Hyrox hype, and I feel I need to weigh in on it, being in the fitness space and having this podcast and that. But why have so many people got such an opinion on what others do with their life? And it always comes from those who equally throw up posts and stories and pictures of what they do in their life. But if you threw up a Hyrox time, if you've done something, posted a video with your top off, you were going to get shit and get hate from the whole of fucking the UK. And I don't know if this is just necessarily a culture thing that we have here in Scotland, but it's weird that it comes from all angles. That I see coaches slagging other people that are doing a fitness race, and then see just average Jill and Joes weighing in on opinion when somebody's kind of done a big event like Hyrox, right? And I think it's baffling. It's genuinely baffling because you wouldn't have the same argument, or you wouldn't throw up the same sort of shade if a group of people went out to a festival and started drinking. Someone went to see, I don't know, what is the festivals these days, but old school, like you wouldn't see everyone slagging everyone going to tea in the park, or maybe you did, and maybe it's just the age of social media and whatnot. But why does so many people have a problem with it? I'd honestly asked myself, and I was like, why does it get people annoyed when it's got nothing to do with them? And I guess there might be, I don't know, like a bit of arrogance. Do you think that's what it is? That if you're working out and you're posting your times, it's like, oh, look at me. I don't know. Like you obviously see in fitness, just in fitness in general, and those who go to the gym, people create these gym pages and fitness accounts to gain likes, gain attention, become an influencer, and all that sort of stuff. But it's a minority of people who do these types of events. Glasgow Hyrox had 17,000 people registered to compete. I don't know how many ended up competing in the end, but how mad is that? Like the Scottish fitness scene having that big of an impact. That is the biggest event that they have done so far, and we've had it in our town. And that's why, like, probably most people's social media was concerned with it. And I guess it can get a bit irritating. Some people get FOMO. But it says, what the reason I want to bring this point up is because I've had a few conversations with clients who've done Hyrox and people that I just know in passing. Like, one thing you need to remember, like, this can be a massive, 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 one, confidence boost, but also deterrent for someone's fitness journey. If you start slagging, or if you see people slagging a type of thing, and I guess there's a part where your friend might make a comment about something and you feel the need to go, yeah, that's gay, it's just so self-obsessed individuals, blah, 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 blah. Like you feel the need to jump in that conversation just to be friends with those types of people. But it's like a trend to hating it. And I don't understand why, because you don't get the sort of same energy or the same hate when those same people get gear every Friday, drink religiously, week to week, week in, week out, aren't in the best state when it comes to their health and fitness, are probably struggling with their own mental challenges and mental health, yet they're the first to post about Mental Health Awareness Day and all that sort of stuff, yet then throw the same sort of shade out when it comes to those who are trying to do something good for their fitness. So I don't get it. I really don't. But I'd love to know, what's your conclusion on it? But yeah, we're a week on from the whole, well, I guess one of the biggest Hyrox events to date. And I thought a wee segue of this conversation or today's podcast can be on, what do we do next? Like, what is the next sort of challenge? Do you sign up to another one? Do you go across to one of the other events in a different country? Like, what do you do next? Because there's going to be a lot of people that were very consistent in their training, very regimented with the plan of action to get to this event, compete in this event, and crack on with it. Now, I want to break this down. So first things first, this happens with any goal that you set, whether it's a holiday, a wedding, an event. Like, usually the goal being set is like the bowling alley bowling alley. I used this analogy last time. The bumper's up inside. We know we need to get down that lane to hit the pins. The pins are the event. The pins are the D-date. But once D-date comes along, there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of like, yeah. But you're usually met with this kind of flatness. This happens to absolutely every single person. And this flat feeling is just simply the next goal's not been set. And you'll often hear me say in the podcast that, especially when it comes to our physique or our performance, these are great things to strive towards, but it's never the end goal. One, like if it's a performance type thing that you're looking for, it's like making sure we pivot. So yes, okay, Hyrox might have passed, but maybe there's something that happened in that event and you're like, that needs to get better. That's where the mindset needs to be kind of shifted a little bit, and goals have to be redesigned, or new goals have to be set, should I say. So if you haven't done that and you were one of those who competed or you wanted to compete and you're feeling that you've been kind of in and out of your training, setting or signing up to an event or doing something in terms of a date, setting a date on something is a great way to get you more, I hate using the word, but it gives you a little bit more motivation to work towards something, because essentially you're working towards something. It's not a mindless task of the unknown. Now, the other part of this conversation is, well, there's actually three different parts, but another part of the conversation is the physique, right? I see a lot of people when I've been speaking to them and asking why they're looking to compete in Hyrox or why they want to do a Hyrox in the first place. So most common answers were, I just looked really cool to get involved with, got a bit of FOMO because my friend was doing it, etc., etc. But see, when you get down to a deeper layer, people often look at fitness races and think that if I do that and if I can complete that, I will have X physique. And I hate to break it to you, but it's not true at all. This is the whole body dysmorphia type of thing that we think. We look at athletes, we look at actors, American football. I don't know why I went to American football, swimmers, see when the Olympics come up, Olympics is always an interesting one, because then you see this big uptake in a vast variety of events, because people, yes, there's a percentage of people go, oh, that'd be cool to do. But a more common answer as to why people do a certain type of lift or a certain type of exercise protocol is because they're chasing a physique-based goal. They're chasing an aesthetic-based goal. And aesthetic-based goals, I think, are, in terms of priority list, they don't even make it to the top 10 for me personally. Now, can they? Can it shift? Like I said, the goals are always moving. Once you achieve one goal, it's good to pivot into another goal. Absolutely. But if you were going into your Hyrox, you probably met with, you got through the day, you'd done the event, whether it went your way or it didn't, but there'll be a voice in the back of your mind that you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're comparing yourself to everyone that's at this venue, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I put in a lot of work, but I don't think I see that dramatic a change in terms of my physique. Now, pause there, because there will be a percentage of you who would have seen a dramatic change in your physique. However, this is where you're at that breaking point. If you've heard me speak about this in the past, this is the human body. This is the way that it adapts. If you send this high signal of quote-unquote cardio type movements, which in a way most people's training for Hyrox is going to be around that, very little resistance training, very little strength training, it's all conditioning based, it's high reps, there's very little progression week to week, and it's all based on this endurance output. The way your body adapts to that initially is going, whoa, we've got such a high energy output, let's tap into the fat stores that are on our body, let's get rid of some fat and use that as energy. But if you keep doing that and you're not replenishing that through fuel and hydration and sleep and recovery, etc., the way that your body adapts is by going, we need to be more efficient in the calories that we're consuming. So we need to get rid of other things that are too expensive for our calories to run. One of them being muscle, another one being your stress then going up, another one being your sleep being impacted. All these different things start to break down. And then I know there's, especially with the whole hype around Hyrox just now, people signing up to 5, 6, 7, 8 events. First of all, where the fuck are you getting your money from for that? But secondly, like, it's something just to be wary of, because if you're booking your next Hyrox event, this is what I wanted to come on to in today's episode, to kind of talk more about on how to structure your programming, because it's not going, right, my runs weren't that good, I just need to run more. Yes, that's a part of the plan, but you don't want to lose the attention or You don't want to lose the skill of continuously showing up in resistance training and strength training, because the next thing that happens is injuries. So you got a lot of people who's wanting to do the event and doing it for aesthetic-based reasons. That is probably one of the worst ways you can go about changing your body. If you look at your body transformation journey, that has to be up there with one of the worst ways to go about it. Running, marathons. Marathons is a big one. Marathons and Hyroxes are probably two that most people done because yes, they wanted to have the achievement of completing it, but in that achievement bubble, they thought to themselves, if I do this, I'm going to look better. Or if I do this, I'm going to prove to myself that I'll be in better shape. And like I said, that day comes along, and it's came along for a lot of you guys and girls over the last week there. And there's a large percentage of you that are thinking, fuck man, like, I'm not exactly where I wanted to be. Right, I'll just sign up to another one. I just need to train harder. And this isn't about training harder. It's actually about training smarter and applying different protocols of phases of training to sort of go through. So that is a big misconception around what these types of events do. Marathons was the biggie as to why people do it, because they thought they would just shift a ton of weight. Hyrox is now taking that over, I guess, because people are indoors, they're taking their tops off, and you're seeing all these different physiques and whatnot. So you automatically think, right, that's what I'm going to look like. When in reality, there's a percentage of people who are going to show off, because it's like, yeah. Let's be honest, if you're a single person and you want to attract someone who's like-minded, where are you going to go? You're going to go to a fitness event if you have a strong desire and passion to do that. So stop hating these people that are kind of showing off a wee bit. Let them do their thing. It does not ruin your day. But where was I going with that? So so the aesthetic based Hyrox isn't the one. Like it's not what you want to do to change your aesthetics. Changing your aesthetics, there's a simpler, not necessarily easier, but better approach. Like it's maybe you follow the path of doing marathon, 10Ks, 5Ks after 5Ks, or Hyrox after Hyrox, and you'll get to a point, if you don't implement proper resistance training and strength training, going through a proper reverse diet, applying proper nutrition habits, you will end up being one of these people that are stuck metabolically with eating very little calories. You have to have a high output of week-to-week activity, and you're still stuck with extra body fat in a shape that you're not happy about. And you might be as I said, there might be some of you that are in that just now, but there'll be a lot of guys out there that you will be at that breaking point, and you've got a real decision to make here that, okay, if you sign up to another one, do you just hammer more conditioning? Do you just hammer more intensity? And do you just cut the calories a little bit to get a little bit lighter? It's like, no, there's so many other approaches that you can take, resistance training being one of them. But today we're not going to talk about like resistance training as such. I'll come on to something at the end. And the third or the last category I want to talk about is injuries, right? A lot of people having to pull out of the race just this past week, or just pushing through and various things happening on the day, right? Injuries is a very complex one, and there's no silver bullet as to why it can happen. It's usually a combination of multiple factors. However, we can draw conclusions to main pillars to make sure that they're taken care of, right? So range of motion on range of motion on all movement patterns that we do: press overhead, pull up, squat, hinge. Can we do all those things pain-free, and are we doing them regularly enough where we're challenging that through a little bit of tension? So this is where resistance training is going to come into play. It could be some active mobility, it could be resistance bands. Like there's a variety of different ways that can happen. So range of motion and kind of addressing your mobility and range of motion week to week. Second thing is, which in this space, for whatever reason, I understand everyone wants to be an athlete, right? I guess we all do it, and we consider ourselves being athletes. But looking at what the top people do and then trying to replicate that, I'm sorry, you are not the top people. I am not the top people. As much as I would love to grab number one position and all that sort of stuff, I need to address that there's other things in my life going on where I can't fully devote all my time and energy towards that training. And just because someone is the top athlete in their space does not make them healthy, does not make them any far superior than anyone else. They're just really good at that sport. This goes for anyone, footballers. You could look at top level martial artists. You could look at the best badminton player in the world. Like, everyone is refining their craft so much that their only passion or their only desire in life is to have that number one spot. Now, for people like you and me, we've got lives to live. And I probably bet that you want to live a life. Now, that doesn't mean you can't not do a good time, but the whole mindset around what good in Hyrox looks like is mental. Like, people are getting really disappointed hitting an hour 3. People are getting really disappointed hitting an hour 30. People are really getting disappointed hitting an hour 40. It's like, all of this is very, very, as much as it's an objective number, and yes, you can get a comparison to where everyone else at in the world, but let's bring this back to your own journey. Like, can you beat that time next time? And what was some of the things that were breaking down? Oh, I couldn't run because my ankle was starting to hurt. Right. That's a good thing, although it might not seem like it, but that gives you the opportunity and the ability to say, look, something's not right. Now, if you want the ability to run, then let's address whatever the hell's going on there, or working with a coach and all that sort of stuff. But the whole comparison side of things is, I would put up there, one of the reasons why so many people get injured, because there's so much pressure riding on our shoulders to do well. And I felt a bit of this in Manchester, where I was really redlining and going all out. And there was a part of me who was thinking, right, if I push this, I can maybe do some proper damage to my ankle, to my knee, to my hip, things that just weren't feeling 100% of that day. Now, you're never always going to be 100%, right? But you need to recognise your body's limits. And that's where injuries, as I said, it's very multifaceted and complex. So, first point being range of motion. Second point being the sort of strength component, making sure that are we resistance training, keeping those joints strong, keeping the tendons strong, more importantly, keeping the muscles strong, the signal that we don't want to lose any muscle as we increase our endurance, especially in this type of sport. Now, the other thing is going to be the intensity. Intensity and recovery, I guess, albeit two separate categories, do fall under the same branch. Now, double day trainings just seem to be a thing that I'm seeing your average general population who have a 9-to-5 job starting to do. And I get the pursuit, right? So there's a percentage of people who are going to grind for that top spot. If you want to be that person, then cool, all power to you. But you need to recognise that you are, not to discourage you by any means necessary, but you definitely need to recognise that your process and your journey, you can't just go, oh, look what Hunter McIntyre's doing. I'm just gonna start replicating that. It's like, man, you've got 2 kids, you've got all these sort of things going on. Not that it's an excuse to not go hard, but your approach to getting better at that sport has to change. And I don't know if it's because it's becoming such a popular thing that you see the times that people are doing and you're like, I'm only 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes off that top spot. I would get in about that. So that's where, like, no joke, like, future events that I do in the Hyrox space, absolutely always going to go to win. But when it comes to my training and what I do in terms of my output, I'm going to be realistic in my approach, because the number one thing I want to make sure that I'm doing is I want to make sure I can see, if I want to sign up to Hyrox in 10 years' time. I don't want to be the guy or girl that really does some serious damage to my body because I was pushing the boundaries of intensity too much and I wasn't paying attention to my recovery. And recovery, one of the biggest things is your nutrition and your sleep. Nutrition, sleep, and hydration. They're the 3 core pillars of what you need to do when you look at your training in general. If you're doing double day training sessions, the nutrition on that day should be higher. You should be well fueled going into those sessions, and more importantly, you should be well hydrated, well rested. I quite like the analogy of like this traffic light system. You shouldn't have 2 red days back to back. Can you push through? Can the mindset, the hustle and bustle, and the no pain, no gain culture push you through that? Yeah, cool. But what does that do if you end up getting injured, getting seriously injured, that takes you out of that sport? Because I spoke to many friends, people that I know that as soon as something happens that throws them off kilter, that discredits them from, or discourages, not discourages, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, that throws them off the path of the goal that they had. And most people in this space, you're going to have a goal around some sort of fitness. And if you can't pursue that goal, it can get really dark, really, really dark. So be smart in your training. Like, the next event that you sign up for, yes, okay, you might have a weakness of running, but that doesn't mean just overload the run. It's the same with anything that you do. I'm trying to think of like analogies that most people would do on here. Like, I guess most people drive, right? So think about when you were learning to drive. You don't just go, right, I am going to do a 15-hour driving lesson and then book my test tomorrow. And I know that seems like an extreme analogy, but it's almost what people are doing with their training. They're cramming so much training into one. And see, be honest, a 12-week training block, you can make some serious gains, but like, they're moderate. And there's a fantastic saying out there: people overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 5. Like, really, really think about that. Like, we cram so much into, I'm going to do this month, this week, this year, this is going to be my year. And then it's just so overwhelming, and that we don't take any actionable thing because we've set too many goals, or we've been too clustered in our thoughts, that nothing ends up happening in that year. Whereas if we have a longer trajectory, a longer approach, a longer thought process to, right, what am I wanting to do in 10? What am I wanting to do in 5? Breaking down those habits and showing up daily is what then gets you there. And that practice is going to look very different from many of us, but it literally is the key to shifting the longevity in your fitness and health. I mean, we all understand the point that missing one gym session isn't going to make us fat, or doing one gym session isn't going to make us skinny, right? Using those terms, that analogy, it's like, right, okay, what is the day-to-day things, the week-to-week things that I can make this marginal improvement where I can show up and see this consistent and more importantly, momentum gain that gets me towards that goal. So, yeah, I wanted to do this episode because I know that, like, as much like that weekend that's just passed, not last week's Glasgow Hyrox, should have been an absolute buzz for every single person going through that. Whether you're a seasoned veteran, whether it was your first one, like, just being able to compete in your own country is pretty cool. And there's going to be, with that buzz, you're going to be then met with a bit of flatness, this sort of feeling of, I don't really know what to do anymore. And a lot of you guys are going to sign up to another one, and that's cool. But if I was you and you're signing up to that other one, make sure that you're getting some proper strength training or resistance training in your routine. Now, if you don't know what type of structure to do and you don't have a structure to follow, I've got the Starting Strong 12-week workout program. It's only like £16-17 a week, somewhere around then. It doesn't cost much at all. That has 3 full body training sessions. You could take that program and do 1 or 2. You could still have your runs. You could run once or twice a week. And I kid you not, getting stronger at your squat, your deadlift, your overhead press, your compound movements, that's what's going to make you stronger, fitter, faster, and more confident going into that next race. So whether you've got a race in 10 weeks, whether you've got a race in 4 weeks, it doesn't matter, like, what's going on. Yes, okay, the week leading up to the weeks leading up, like, say 4 weeks out, your conditioning aspect usually goes up. But if you're always conditioning and you're always doing high endurance and high output and high intensity, the body will break down and you will be forced to stop, or by an injury, or by just general fatigue and cold and flu. I think that's another thing people don't realise, that, see, if you're always sick or not well, that is your central nervous system taking that much of a beating from the workouts that you're doing, and you are becoming, like, more centrally, more fried from the intensity and the impact that you're doing. And one of the best things you do is, like, recover, like, literally take a day away from that sort of stuff. And if you, like, I understand, like, the mindset in some people, so it's like, no, like, I need to always be working out. It's like, right, cool, let's just change the way that you work out. Like, it shouldn't be, I am burning 1,000 calories today. It should be, right, I'm just going to go a walk for 2 hours. I'm going to go like a moderate cycle. I'm going to get out and about. I'm going to go a hike. Like, there's so many different things you can do. Get outside, like, change it up. Because I tell you what, like, being in that space in and out every single day and taking these no days off, it's not healthy. It's not the pillar of health and fitness, and it's masked because it's fitness. But just like the person who drinks occasionally, you don't think they're an alcoholic, but if they start drinking every day, you're like, there's problems here. The same thing can happen with fitness, albeit if you had to pick one, obviously I know what one I would pick, but it doesn't make it any better. So I wanted to bring some light on that. So yeah, as I said, if you're looking for some structure when it comes to that workout structure for your resistance training, check the link below. As I said, it's really cheap actually for what you get. You get access to that, the workout, the structure, the rep ranges, and you go through 3 different phases, which will build strength, which will build confidence, which will make you fitter. Believe it or not, you'll actually gain a ton of endurance. That's another misconception, that the sort of lifting weights makes you bulky and slow. Absolutely not true at all. Actually, that'll be a really good episode to do. So if you want that, check out the link below. You try it out for a month, and if it's not for you after the first month, send me a wee message. And if it's not for you, I'll give you I'll refund your money and obviously take the app off you. But not had to do that yet, and had some fantastic feedback from those who are following it so far. So yeah, if you get any questions, reach out to me on Instagram at Coach Crossar. And yeah, I will see you guys on the next episode. Next episode, I think I said this last time, I'm going to start doing some more updates in the fitness news. There is ATHEX and Turf Games happening over the next week or two. I'm going to actually try and get spectator tickets and take the podcast there. So let me know what type of guests you want to see in the show. If there's anyone that's making moves in the space that you would love to see them on the show, hit me up, let me know, and I will reach out and see if they want to come on. So yeah, as always, have a great day. Let's get after it, let's get strong, let's get fit, let's get healthy, and I'll see you guys on the next one.